This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Why did the hipster vampire burn his mouth when he drank his blood coffee?
Why?
Because he drank it before it was cool.
That's a terrible joke.
I know it is. I warned you before it was going to be a terrible joke.
Blood coffee?
Hipster vampire?
I guess it makes sense.
It was,
blood coffee.
no, it's
So just hot blood?
yeah, basically.
Does it have
with cream or sugar?
Does it have? Okay,
No,
that's what I was going to
You
ask.
get it at Starbucks. It's actually $18. But
For
it's
a
rat.
venti.
It's rat blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Baconsale, everyone. I'm Joel,
I'm Kent.
And Jacob.
and today we're getting a little hipster. Little hipster today.
Are we? I don't really feel like it right now.
I don't know. Let me adjust my bow tie.
You got my suspenders on? I think we did the same joke when we did
you
our
said
hipster
suspenders
flick.
last time. I
Shoot.
changed mine to bow tie. Actually, I got the inspiration for that intro because of what you said on our last Hipster Flick Picks show.
What did I say? Something
When you
brilliant,
said the
probably.
first time you met Kent, he told you a hipster joke.
Oh, yeah. I
And
remember
thought
that one.
I thought that was funny. So I was like, I'm totally bringing that back.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
I think so. Was
Do you
it
remember
the
the hipster joke?
Nope, I don't at all.
How many light bulbs does it take to... How many hipsters does it take to screw in a light
Oh
bulb?
yeah, it's what was
It's
it?
an obscure number you probably never
God,
heard.
I was so funny I couldn't remember my own joke.
That's how it works. But yes, well, first of all, we want to thank you for all the participation we got on our
You're welcome.
werewolf show.
Oh, not me.
You did a quiz.
Yeah.
But no, it was a fun show. We got to talk about werewolves. We did have a few requests for future shows, so we can talk about more movie monsters. We're probably going to wait till next year to start doing that again.
Well, we just had kind of a plan for what we want to do this Halloween, and whenever we actually get a plan in place, we like to follow it instead of just flying week to week.
A year later.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. But yes, we had our hipster flick picks back at episode 96. That was in March of this year, actually. So it wasn't too long ago. So hopefully you remember that.
That was just March?
I feel like whenever we
ago.
talk about hipster flick picks, we get into our NPR voices.
Yes. We should talk about
I grew a beard for that episode.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
we should talk about movies that are very barbaric now, very sinister.
But
if
here's
you
the thing. Hipster picks aren't very Halloweenish. What are we talking about today, Jacob?
Hipster Halloween movies.
Oh,
Okay, that's
you mean like things
delightful.
that terrify me, that chill me to the bone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like that.
Why do we sound so like we're getting more sultry?
Hold
Is
on,
it?
I'm...
Some of us are getting more sultry.
I don't know what you mean.
So back on our hipster flick picks, we talked about movies that you'd never heard of before.
I miss the sultry voice.
And and we decided we wanted to do something similar to that, but with horror movies. Because while
Yes.
last time, Kent, did you pick one that was a horror movie? The Red Riding Trilogy, was that a horror movie?
It's not. It's just a crime thriller,
Oh, okay. And then Jacob,
and it's so
you
hipster.
did-
It's not even a movie. It's a TV series.
That's right. And then Jacob, you did Rope, which was kind of a horror movie as
Yeah,
well.
that's true. Yeah.
And then I did He Loves Me, He Loves Me Not, which is kind of a suspense
It's
movie as well.
terrifying.
But so we hope you watched those that we brought up last time. But this time we're sticking strictly to horror.
If you didn't, then why don't you care about our opinion
Because
more?
here's the thing, right? I mean, like horror films, like we all know the big ones. We know Jason, Freddy,
Everyone
Michael
knows,
Myers,
yeah,
whatever.
You name horror movies, people are going to say The Ring, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Or people will be like, I'll only watch a few, but I won't watch the the gross ones. I won't watch Saw or Hostel. I'm like, but did you know there's so much more out there? Granted, digging through
So
the
much
horror
more,
bin,
and
there
it's-
is there's so many bad movies out there.
terrible.
So many.
So many
But-
bad horror movies.
But we are here to be your experts to tell you what is worth
Yeah.
watching.
Look, it's October. You're going to be watching a scary movie at some point.
watch something new.
Now we can help you be cool.
Exactly. And this is mid-month, so you can still find a movie to watch. And as we discuss these movies, the rules are we had to have seen it, of course. We had to have liked it, and it has to be accessible. It can't be some VHS tape that you saw in a cabin in the woods and it was really scary.
And then 7 days later, you died.
And then you're a ghost and telling people what to watch. Can't do that.
That's super hipster, though.
So we're going to tell you
To
what,
actually die and then tell someone to watch a movie
That is.
if they want to hear.
Yeah. But we're going to tell you how you can find these movies as well. And Ken, Jacob, and myself will all be giving recommendations today. And how many recommendations are we giving each, fellas?
4. Which is a hipster number.
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't we do a top 5?
Everyone does top 5s.
What about top 3?
It could have been 6, and then it would have been 666 too. But
Where were you when we were planning this episode?
no, I thought of it. I just didn't want to pick 6 movies.
I actually have 6 movies on
I
my
could probably
list.
I could pull two in if you want to do that.
Maybe some honorable mentions, because I could totally do that.
But we were picking movies that you hopefully haven't heard of, but may be interested in. But we get bonus points if no one at the table has seen it either.
Literally.
So here's the thing. We're all fans of horror. Jake, I would say you're a newer fan of horror.
Yeah, that's true.
And we kind of gave you this education a few years back.
Are you a fan, Jacob? Like, do you enjoy horror movies?
You know, I have to tell you, I was especially looking through Hipster once, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much garbage here. I don't want to spend, like, I don't care quite enough about the genre that it's worth it to me to watch terrible ones to get to a few good ones. So I mostly just have to wait for a Kent recommendation because it's just not worth it to me. I don't like the genre that much.
Well,
What
and
about,
that
what about
said,
a Joel recommendation?
yeah, and in fact, I like that one that you told me.
Jake, you're right.
Probably not using that one.
You're
but-
right the first time. Kent recommendations. It's okay.
Yeah.
You had it down. But here's the thing. Joel and I, we grew up with these movies. And so we filtered through the swamp of bad horror because it's just what we watched and maybe we didn't care.
Although, can I? Well, yeah, because it was on USA
Right.
late at night, and so you just watch it. 'cause
Or
it
my
was
grandma
on.
sent me the video and that was inappropriate.
Actually, Joel,
too.
didn't you help build my list of horror movies to watch a few years ago?
I believe I did, but we worked together. I
Yeah, you
think.
guys worked together on that.
Oh, sure we did.
It was mostly Kent's, probably, but yeah.
Probably. But I actually had a revelation recently, Kent and Jacob, that I want to share with you.
Okay.
I'm not as big of a fan of new horror as I am classic horror.
So what's classic for you other than
Yeah,
like
what does that
Universal?
mean?
Does that mean up until like late 80s?
Yeah, probably so, because as I was watching these newer horror movies, and they're all kind of jump out scares and torture porn and things like that, that I preferred like the haunted house, the ambience. Like,
I get it.
Those types of movies where it feels Halloween instead of just feeling scary. Like there's an atmosphere to those movies that I feel is missing in a lot of newer horror.
But there's a
movies.
bunch of cheese as well in those old
Oh
movies.
yeah. But I'm just finding in that a lot of my
That's part of the amusement, though.
Right.
Every Halloween, every October, I should say, I bump up all my horror movies to the top of my queue and I put them in an order. And this time, this is why I kind of realized it. I was pushing a lot of the newer ones down and then bumping a lot of the older ones up.
Well, I have some for you because a lot of mine are modern.
Okay.
Like, I'll just call it out right now. And so I do want to
they
help
are.
because I actually think there are generally maybe 2 to 3 new gems every single year in the horror genre.
Really? You
Like,
think
for
that
example,
many?
That's generous.
you saw Get Out.
Yes, I did. I just watched Get Out.
Your thoughts?
Get Out. That's one of the ones that I went, this is really good because it created the atmosphere. It created
Right,
ambience. Very, very few jump scares. It's all about just feeling uncomfortable the entire time. And it felt unique. It felt refreshing to watch a horror movie where I was like, I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
So yes, I really enjoyed that one.
So I would say there are a lot of movies like that you may be missing. So I'm going to add a few of those. But
Which
so
is
I think
fine.
we'll have a pretty good mix because, as everyone here knows, Jake was born in 1907.
He actually has like a VCR in his house, and it only works with older than 1960 movies.
And don't you have to crank it as
I
well?
have about a VCR, guys. That's way too new and fandangled for me.
He's got one of those slide projectors.
Yeah.
Right, but you
have a real
typically
projector.
you are the film buff when it comes to classic films, right?
I suppose.
When it comes to Frank Capra, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely for Frank Capra and Hitchcock. And yeah.
And Joel, you're right in the middle. Like, you have a pretty good balance of like the 80s slasher, but also the Universal monsters.
Oh yes, I love.
Also, we love silent movies.
Yeah, and so it's kind of. I think among the three of us, gentlemen, I think we have a pretty good range.
Right,
of horror
and I
movies.
generally go more modern with pretty much everything.
Yeah, and I do. It's weird because hipster has become such a weird word, and when we say hipster, we just mean kind of
Yeah, we're throwing it out there.
obscure horror movies you've never heard of. I used to throw around the Changeling like crazy because no one had heard of it.
Well, that's
Right.
the one I was referencing before, but then I was afraid maybe it was one of your choices.
No, because that's just it. Everyone's heard of it now.
But it's so
whenever
immensely
whenever they
popular
do
at
the
this
Chunga poll, Changeling won like years and years and years in a row.
Right.
And then
a good
I
one.
was thinking to myself, well, do people still watch like ones like House on Haunted Hill, which is my Facebook profile, my Twitter profile
Yeah,
right now?
That's a good one.
And then I remembered, oh wait, Jacob brought that up on the last show as one of the ones that you said, oh yeah, I like that movie, and I was like, oh dang it, no, that thing is Jacob already knows about this one, I can't use it. So it's funny how I had a hard time picking movies that I
So
hope
you
people
picked
haven't
other
seen.
Vincent Price instead.
Yes, a lot of Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't have any Vincent Price. Sad.
No House of Wax, huh?
For me, it's tough because I
That's a
have
good
to
one.
narrow down the foreign movies and also the more modern stuff.
And we're not. Don't give them all away because we may do another horror hipster flick picks later on.
Joel, can I follow up? I just want to piggyback this idea you had about the old movies because I watch some of these, like I'm watching trailers or start watching new horror movies, and I'm like, I feel like they don't work as hard on writing because they're not planning, because they don't care. It's all about jump scares. It's about grotesque.
I agree.
It's about like these creepy effects. It's about doll's eyes and, you know, people. It's about blood, right? And I get into these old ones and they couldn't do all that crap, right? So they had to write stuff that was creepy. And for me, that's more effective.
And they used organ music.
But don't you think...
Which is creepy.
Don't you think in older movies, they basically just had a lot of living room conversations that had nothing to do with the movie and didn't even do a lot for characters? It was just like a lot of just talking because the budget wasn't as big. Like I think what they do now incredibly well is pacing. I mean, a lot of older movies are slow burn, and I love slow burn. It's great, but now we just have better amped up pacing. And I would say, like, I think we all hate jump scares. I'm looking at my list, hoping that jump scares really are not a big part of it. Because that's kind of tacky. Maybe that's a full show, jump scares versus...
Well, it's easy. Like It's like in comedy, when you throw out something very vulgar or profane, people will react because it's shocking. Right. And shock comedy is not effective comedy. It's easy comedy.
Yeah.
Same with horror.
Lazy.
If you do jump out scares the entire time, but don't really have any horror elements.
You're going for someone sitting in a movie theater full of people, but you're not trying to scare someone sitting on the couch watching a movie alone in the dark.
What I want from my horror movies is I want the hair to stand up on the back of my neck.
Your neck is so hairy.
Yes, it is. And that's what I feel is missing in a lot of these. Is I don't get that creepy feeling. I just get scared, scared instead of like that. Creepy.
So you don't have anything stay with you? Man, have I got a movie list for you.
I like it when a movie stays with me for a little bit.
Okay.
But anyway, we really should get into the list.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through our 4 each. We're going to go 4 me, 4 Jacob, 4 Ken, 3 me, 3 Jacob, 3 Ken, or however we want to do it. Because we weren't allowed to talk about our lists with each other because we wanted to surprise each other with our picks.
Yep.
So Jacob, why don't you surprise us first?
My first movie is Deathgasm from 2015. It's when... Two teenage boys unwittingly summon an ancient evil.
Hold on, he's telling a Jacob joke.
I am.
Why would you do that? Why would you start off the show with that? Joel's face right now. I think he's having a deathgasm.
This is a real movie. 2015, two teenage boys unwittingly summon an ancient evil entity known as the Blind One by delving into black magic while playing rock music. Okay, here's my real one. This is a Joel joke, actually. I totally stole this from Joel with a fake one. My first one is Asylum from 1972. Asylum, actually...
Wait. Have you seen this, Kent?
No.
Have I seen this? No.
I win!
Jacob gets a point.
You don't win, you get a point.
I pretty much won.
But you've seen this one.
Oh, yeah.
And you like this one.
So
and you recommend this one.
I mean, right, this is number 4, so there's going to be a caveat with this one. But the premise is fantastic. I'll just tell you guys the premise real quick. Is a psychiatric doctor shows up at this asylum, and he's there, trying to get a new position. The doctor that he meets, like the director, I should say, the director that he meets when he comes in, he's in a wheelchair there, and he comes in and he says, "Hey, sorry, I can't stand up to meet you." And he goes, "Oh, no problem. Is there an accident?" And he's like, "Yeah, I broke the rule. You shouldn't turn your back on a patient." And he says, "Oh, yeah, that's, you can't do that." And he keeps talking, and he says, "Well," so the visitor says, "Well, are you the director?" And he goes, "No, I'm actually the assistant." He says, "Well, where's the director?" And he said, "Well, he's the patient that attacked me." And he's like, "Oh, well, that's not good." And he's like, "Yeah, we had to lock him up upstairs." And so he tells him this whole story.
It sounds like Stonehurst Asylum.
A little bit.
Does it? Kate Baconsale in it.
Maybe it's a version of the story.
I actually haven't watched that one. I watched the trailer for it recently.
It's not bad.
No. Anyway, and so he says, so the assistant director says, "We'll give you the job if you can interview 4 patients and tell us which one was the doctor." And so the movie is him going up and trying to figure out which one is the doctor that's gone crazy. And so he listens to these stories. So these 4 independent, scary stories of crazy people. And so you're watching the story and trying to figure out who's crazy and who's not. The premise is great.
So the movie is essentially these patients will tell their story, and then you see the story, like you see the flashback.
Yes, exactly.
And they're just it's like a series of vignettes of scary stories.
I'm totally into this.
That sounds pretty good.
So I love the premise.
What's it rated?
My caveat, it's like PG.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
70s PG?
Yeah, 1972 PG.
72 PG.
We know what that means. Prawn guaranteed.
There's no naked people in this. I wasn't deeply satisfied with the ending, so
PG.
that's the caveat, but the actual ride is excellent. So
the ending's not solid, but it's a creepy story.
It's a very creepy story. Yep.
Well, and a lot of it's hard for horror movies to stick the landing, to be honest.
Right.
Because they spend so much time building up the suspense that always at the end it's like,
That's why they tend to actually just stay with the survivor girl cliche, because it's easy, it's worked before, and it's still fun and fresh to see because it's familiar.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these movies are comfort food in a way, even though they're meant to scare you really bad.
Yeah, most of them just end with everybody dead, though.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, it's
a lot of modern
girl,
ones, especially.
It's like the virgin who lives or everyone dies.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. No, and that's actually on Prime, Amazon Prime right now.
That's what I was going to say. Is it is on Prime right now. That's part of the reason I chose it. It's very accessible. It's kind of family friendly. There's some weird stuff that happens.
Peter Cushing's in it.
Yeah. Huh. And that's actually a great story.
Jacob, I just added that to my watch list.
Nice.
You sold me.
Isn't Peter Cushing's ghost in Rogue One?
Maybe.
That's a scary movie.
Yes. So that's scary. Well, at least Peter Cushing's scary.
All right.
Who's next?
I'll go next. Jacob went 1972. I'm going to go 1962.
Ooh.
I also have a 1962.
Yeah, I didn't go as old. Last time we did the Hipster Flicks picks, I went back to the silent era. I thought about doing this time, but instead I went with this one as my oldest one. It's Day of the Triffids.
Oh,
not mine.
You've seen it?
I have not seen it, but I've heard
You haven't
of it.
seen it?
I haven't seen it.
I'm going to get the point because you haven't seen it, I guess. Is it heard of it or is it seen it?
But who cares?
We'll say seen it.
Arbitrary.
Point for Joel. The plot is, after an unusual meteor shower leaves most of the human population blind, a merchant Navy officer must find a way to conquer tall, aggressive plants which are feeding on people and animals. This movie is about killer plants.
Triffids.
Yes.
Triffids. And they are
That's a weird
tall,
name.
like they look like kind of, I don't know, tall, bushy tree things.
Yeah.
And they have these tentacles that kind of move around. And then the scariest thing is their tongue lashes out and will sting you and it will paralyze you. And then they pull you in and devour you. And it terrified me as a kid. Like this really was. And this is very, you can watch this with kids because it's not gory. It's not, it's basically G or PG.
Especially if you want your kids to stay away from plants.
Exactly.
Actually, if you want your kids to not be vegan, you're like, see? This is terrible.
But I did look on the parents' guide. This is PG, and I looked in the parents' guide, and it says people are killed, and there is some kissing, some more than just a peck.
That's the parents'
That's what it said. But this is based on a 1951 science fiction novel.
Hashtag life goals. All right.
More than just a peck. But I
You'll
remember...
get there, man. We believe in you.
This has actually been adapted a number of times. There was a radio drama series, and then 2 TV series that the British
It's
have
British,
done.
right? Yeah.
But this is a classic sci-fi horror, but the monsters terrified me as a little kid because they make this weird clicking noise when they attack people, and like at one point like you see it like eating a person, and it's actually kind of terrifying.
So this doesn't sound scary and never really has to me, because if you saw a Triffid standing out of the ground, like how far away could you be before its tongue could get you?
Well, they move. They're moving plants.
Oh,
they walk on their roots. Like they kind of slide along.
Oh, I'm sure those effects are great.
Oh, yeah. They look pretty corny. And the ending is kind of hokey in kind of a War of the Worlds, some may say Signs kind of way.
Okay.
But this one is available on Amazon Video, $4.99, and it's on YouTube. If you want to just Google it, it's there. But overall, this is one that I put on my list, not because I think it's super terrifying for adults, but because this is a horror movie that the whole family can watch and you can terrify your kids a little bit. I'd probably say wait till they're 8, 9 to watch this.
Oh, I thought you were going to say wait till they were being bad or something. Yeah.
Well, the Triffids are going to come get you. But yes, Day of the Triffids.
Okay. My number 4 is it's from 2014, and it's called Stage Fright.
Oh, I've heard of that one. I haven't seen it, but I do know.
Okay, so I'll just take a point.
Who's the director?
You still get the point, yeah.
The director is some guy.
Okay, and who's any famous actors in it?
Yeah, Minnie Driver's in this movie.
You hate Minnie Driver.
And Meatloaf.
What?
Yeah. I had heard of this.
Wait, what?
No, it's a true story.
And you're recommending this?
Yeah, I am. Hey, dude, Meatloaf's in my favorite movie of all time.
That's true.
In Fight Club.
He is.
So look.
We don't talk about that movie, Ken.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't. That's rule number 1 and 2. So Minnie Driver is actually in the first scene, and spoiler alert, she plays this diva, much like, she's in this Broadway musical called Haunting at the Opera.
Okay.
And she is killed by the masked person, basically the Phantom, at the beginning of this movie.
She's killed?
Yes, and that is part of the plot. So basically, her kids, 16 years later, go to theater camp, and they start the same play, Haunting at the Opera, and they start to realize that the killer may be at that camp. The same one that killed their mom. And so, if I may, I want to play part of this song. I'm not sure how well this will play, but I'll add a little clip just as you guys. By the way, this is a musical. A musical horror comedy.
I just don't think it can star Minnie Driver. She
Wait,
dies.
have you said this is good, though?
He hasn't said
I haven't said that. Okay, you ready?
I got beaten up a dozen times for singing Stephen Sondheim's rhymes. Some school bullies sound awfully bad. What school bullies? That was my dad.
It's all kids singing?
So it's a bunch of kids that go to a summer camp. It's like, have you seen Wet Hot American Summer?
I have not.
It's similar to that in tone, except for there is a AC/DC type killer that every time you see him and he's like crossing people off his list, he's screaming like this. And it's
Meatloaf?
It's basically, and there's like electric guitars. I'm not going and saying who the killer is.
Okay.
Right? Because there's this whole thing, and it's kind of a parody of Phantom of the Opera, but there's the killer is a guy in a kabuki mask, and it's just a very strange movie.
I don't think we can give you the point, because the rules are you have to have seen it, have to have liked it, and recommend it.
Oh, I do like it.
IMDb gives it 5.4 out of 10.
No, look, it has terrible critic reviews, but I will say that song is really, really good. It's all about
that
kids.
one you just played?
Yeah, no, it's actually good.
Not based on what you just played for us.
I can play the rest, but it's not show appropriate because this movie is rated R.
Oh, it's an R.
Because this movie has some awesome kills. For example, there's one time where the director, I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin this movie a little bit. The director of this local play or the camp play, he's running away from the killer, and all of a sudden these lights start dropping from the top of the stage, and he's running, and then all of a sudden a clamp, like this little vice grip, drops on his foot and impales his toes, and so he's stuck, and the killer shows up. And then the killer goes, break a leg! And then pushes him, and it rips this guy's foot off. Sorry, if there's kids around. Breaks this guy's foot off, which I was like, yeah, break a leg. Nice work, nice work. And then the guy's still alive, and the killer throws this guy's mouth on a light bulb, and then claps his cheeks together. And I was like, that was awesome. I mean, we've all seen these kind of movies. This is a horror comedy.
This is 2014?
2014.
This sounds like 1970s or 80s.
It feels a little bit like a 1970s, and even in quality, but for the camp value alone, and camp, I guess it's theater camp, for the camp value alone, this is worth watching. This movie made $7,000.
Wait, that's how much you made, or that was his budget?
Yeah, I hope it was just the budget. But here's the downside of this movie. The music saves it from being like a standard slasher flick of whodunit, basically. The kills are kind of fun, but the first half has a lot of great songs, and then it's kind of like Frozen, where it just kind of lets it go. You know, again. And it doesn't have music in the back half, because if it did, it would be a great movie, but it's just a good movie that I can recommend.
Okay. So yeah, everyone got points that round.
Oh, nice.
Woot woot. Jacob started round 2.
All right, sounds good. Round 2 is going to be Zombies from 2015.
Stop it.
It's when the zoo animals become zombies. This
is another fake one. Round?
It's another fake one.
This one was a little more family friendly.
When a strange virus quickly spreads throughout a safari park and turns all the zoo animals undead, those left in the park must stop the creatures.
Jake, you don't have to follow up the joke with
No, I think the synopsis works. All right, my real pick is Tucker and Dale versus Evil from 2010.
Love Tucker and Dale
which
versus Evil.
Jake, great choice. I'd love to give you points, but we can't.
I know you guys have seen that one.
We love that one,
and I knew that. I knew that going in. I wasn't trying to win. Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which, by the way, the title sort of, I don't know, it's perfect. It's here's the official summary: is affable hillbillies Tucker and Dale are on vacation at their dilapidated mountain cabin when they are mistaken for murderers by a group of preppy college students.
And just to put that in perspective, if you've ever seen a horror movie in the woods, there's always these backwoods hillbillies that are trying to kill them and they have to run away. This is from the point of view from the hillbillies, and they actually aren't doing anything bad.
It's so funny, and this is horror comedy. It's super entertaining. It never stops.
It's shocking too, because there's one of these things where can I ruin it?
If you've watched the trailer, you've seen all the kills.
Yeah,
that was my complaint about this movie, is that I saw everything in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
But not the jokes, though.
That's the thing, is the whole trailer is the jokes of how all these people are getting killed, and they're like, oh, we didn't do it.
Oh, see, I had the benefit of not watching the trailer first.
This is one of the reasons I stopped watching.
And this is actually one of those that doesn't quite stick the landing either, as much as I love the movie, because it actually tries to go slasher movie.
The third act gets a little heavy.
But the joke is great.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
It's so much fun.
But yeah, this is 2010. This is a fairly recent one, and if you haven't watched that, it's a good choice, and it's available.
It's a great choice.
Where's it at?
I'm pretty sure it's on streaming Netflix. I thought I saw it on there.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It probably is streaming Netflix, but I don't have it. So there's mine.
No point, but good choice.
Thank you.
Good choice. I'm not going to get points on this round either because I know Kent has seen my number 3. It's La Den Ratakoma In.
I don't know what you're saying, so I'm going to give you points.
Swedish for Let the Right One In.
Oh, yeah.
Which we have talked about on this show before. Actually, on episode 30, this show is a nightmare. We had a whole conversation about it. I gave it an honorable mention for best foreign horror. But let me read the...
I'm trying to think of what won for you then, if that's the honorable mention.
For best foreign horror?
Yeah. It's hard to say. Maybe the Grudge?
Oh, no, that was M. I gave it to M.
Oh, okay,
the silent
great.
movie, yeah. But no, this one, the plot is Oscar, an overlooked and bullied boy, finds love and revenge through Eli, a beautiful but peculiar girl. And it stars Kara Hedenbrandt, Lena Leandersson, and Per Ragnar.
Wait, Ragnar?
I like
Ragnar.
you had like your German
Jake's ran a
voice.
Ragnar.
Yeah,
have you run a Ragnar yet?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, good.
And
I hate Ragnar.
You want to run one with me?
No.
I think in my review I actually wrote, take note, Stephanie Meyer, this is what a relationship between a child and a vampire would be like. Because this is it's a very serious, like if you've ever seen a Swedish film, they're not very light.
No.
They're kind of a heavy culture for some reason in
this whole movie makes me feel cold.
It does.
Just straight up
That's
winter.
a very good observation because that's how I felt too.
Yeah.
But there's this kid, he's bullied, and then this girl shows up, and she's kind of weird, and she lives with this weird guy, and then come to find out she's a vampire, but she's not like traditional fangs out kind of vampire. You don't see her do a lot.
You do in the trailer.
Except for pounce on people,
Right,
and then bite their heads off. And this is rated R.
That's not enough for you?
And it's for language and child peril and violence. It's
the mood is so cool.
Yes.
And there is a shocking ending.
That's and I don't want to give it away.
No, sure.
But that ending, I was watching it going, this is an amazing piece of cinema. Like, this is not just good horror movie. This is good movie. Like,
This is good movie.
This is good movie.
And I think you agree with me. I think we've talked about this, where the American remake, which came out maybe 2 years later.
Which I didn't see.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Equal.
Interesting.
Because they cut out a lot of the weird European stuff.
Oh, there's some weird European stuff and let the right one in.
And it actually does a great job.
Yeah. And actually, the filmmaker, when I was asked about it, he said, I think that remakes should only be done for movies that aren't very good.
Yeah, you're right. They
didn't
need to remake this one, but when they did, I was like, oh, that's fine without all the weird stuff.
This is one we've talked about before. If you like vampire movies, if you want to try something different, this is a very different movie. And like I said, that ending is quite shocking, but quite impressive. So Let the Right One In, 2008.
Unforgettable. Great movie.
I don't think I've seen Unforgettable.
Yeah, I haven't either, actually. What is that?
I know the song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Unforgettable. Let the right one in.
My number 3 is called The Invitation from 2015.
Oh, The Invitation. I watched a trailer for that like yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah.
2015?
You've never heard of this one. I think you can actually catch this one on Netflix.
I think Ken gets the point. Oh, yeah, by the way, Let the Right One is available at your local library, which I checked my library. It was there.
Really?
And Amazon Video and Netflix DVD.
So the story of The Invitation is, while attending a dinner party at his former home,
that's
a man thinks his ex-wife and her new husband have sinister intentions for their guests. This one stars Logan Marshall Green, who you'll remember as Tom Hardy's brother, essentially. He's also on Prometheus, and you think he's Tom Hardy the whole time, but he just looks like him.
Wait, he's the one in Suicide Squad?
No, that's I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Kyle Kinnaman? Or no, something Kinnaman?
It's Jaleel White.
What? Yeah. He looks like Tom Hardy?
Apparently.
Well, when he's Stefan, maybe.
Nobody knows what you guys are saying right now.
So Logan Marshall Green stars in this movie, and from start to finish, it's one of those where you're just watching going, what is going on? And there's a twist here, but you see the twist come up pretty early.
Wait, so what's... Oh, yeah, you already said the plot. It's that... So,
and so
dinner
it's the whole thing is a dinner party, and I will say that the hosts of the party lock the doors from the outside.
So it's Clue.
It feels... Well, it's Clue, but a pretty nightmarish version of Clue.
Okay.
And so, but here's the great thing is, all these characters, especially this main one, they act like real people. They're not making dumb decisions. He's like, why are the doors locked, and how are we gonna, what's going on? Who's doing this, essentially? And it is riveting.
Okay.
Almost so riveting that you get a stress headache because you're like, I feel gross. everything's going wrong.
Ken knows how to pitch a movie.
This is actually why I didn't watch it. Is after the trailer, I felt really stressed out.
Here's how Ken pitches the movie. You should watch this. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have a headache and feel gross.
No, but it's true. It's this total escapism. In fact, if I'm gonna compare this to a movie, like how weird I felt about it is, to a lesser extent, Mother, because Mother is a movie that has no real narrative, right? It's more symbolic. This movie is like the annoying part of Mother, but you're like, what is happening? But there's an actual story happening in the invitation, and the story that unravels. Oh boy,
what's it rated?
This one's rated R.
For heavy reasons.
It's blood. So Joel, you want to know why this one was rated R?
Yes.
So it says there are about 30 F words, so be ready for that.
Boy.
But in there's a little bit of nudity, but I don't want to get into that.
So I like how kids like it's our because of violence. Oh, and language. Oh, and nudity.
No, those are basically the things we have to edit from Joel every Baconsale episode.
Yeah, seriously. But it's a podcast, so it's okay. But here's the thing: there is brief cocaine use, but in parentheses it says not portrayed in a good light.
Well, okay then. I'll check to see if Angel or clearly has that.
But I honestly recommend this to both of you. And I know, Jake, we're talking about how stressful it is, but that's what makes it great. And more people need to see this movie. It did make a fair amount for a really indie movie. It made $232,000.
Better than $7,000.
It is
way better than $7,000
with math.
But the score is incredible. This is, I mean, like I said, the tension is awesome. The cast does a great job. Yeah, watch this movie.
So Kent is the only one to get a point from that round. Good job, Kent.
Woot woot.
All right, my next one. You ready for the fake one?
Never.
It's like, he's not even trying to hide anymore. He's like,
you'll just get more mad if I tell you. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead.
I've actually heard of this one.
It actually has pretty good reviews.
Stop it.
I'm not even kidding you. It's from 2012. Listen to this description. It is the best in the whole world. Zombified chickens attempt to kill the fast food workers that cook them in a restaurant built on an ancient burial ground.
I'd watch that.
You'd watch that?
Why not?
No, I couldn't believe that it had the ratings that it even had, which is pretty remarkable. No, mine is, and this is another one. I've done two that I was pretty sure that you'd seen, and two that I didn't think that you had. So we'll see if you've seen my last one. But it's Troll Hunter.
Oh, wait, yeah. Oh, Troll Hunter, not Troll.
Not Troll.
I've seen Troll Hunter.
Troll Hunter.
I have Troll Hunter in my Netflix queue. It's like my instant watch.
I get a half point.
It's been there for like years, and I keep being like, I need to watch that.
Joel, this movie is great. Like,
great?
This movie is straight up great. Like, it takes you by surprise. Are you
being serious right now?
No, I'm totally serious.
Because it looks corny. Like, I put it in there because I was like, oh, that looks terrible. I'm going to watch that.
It's oddly not corny.
Joel, here's why it works. They use the found footage, but in a way that they want to make it like a documentary.
Yes.
And the trolls are a little bit silly. But there's still
it's a found footage film?
Yeah, it's found footage. There's still the fear of something trampling over you just because you're in the way. It relies a lot on folklore as well.
It's crazy effective, right? And yeah, folklore, and you get into mythology, and you're in this strange, I forget where they are, somewhere like Norway or something. I don't know where they're at. But here's the summary. A group of students investigate a series of mysterious bear killings, but learn that there are much more dangerous things going on. They start to follow a mysterious hunter, learning that he is actually a troll hunter. And the way it just develops and like the climax of the movie, anyway, it's a very good movie, like top tier, 8 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
This is one they've wanted to remake here for a long time. Thankfully they haven't, because it stands on its own.
They don't need to. Yeah, no, they don't need to. This is
so
really
funny because I put it in there because I thought it looked dumb, but apparently it's good. That's mind blowing.
It's actually good. When I watched it, I expected something dumb, and I was like, "This is actual cinema." Well, that's weird.
You were shocked.
I totally was shocked. Yeah, I was expecting. I don't know.
Now,
Army of Darkness.
For my next one, I wanted to bring up a story because, like I said, we tried not to let each other know what we were going to pick because that makes a little more spontaneity on the show.
Indeed.
But we were worried about crossover, like if we were going to pick the same one. And so Ken and I had some alternates, but I was really worried we were going to get a couple in common. So he said, hey, what years are your movies from? And then we kind of, said them to each other. Like mine's 1962, 2003.
Is it a slasher, paranormal?
Well, so then we get in this conversation where I went, Kent, is your 2000? Because we both had a 2006.
Yes.
And I went, Kent, is your 2006 a horror comedy? And Kent said, it's clever, but not a comedy. And I said,
Whose voice?
And then he said,
It was like half Kit and half Al Gore.
And he said, is yours a slasher or a paranormal movie?
Is this how you read my voice?
Shh, I got to do the story here.
That's way nicer than how I read it.
Slasher. With a hint of paranormal. Where does it fit in your rating? Does yours star any big names? No, not A-list actors anyway. And where does yours rank? Second. Ha, mine too. And then I said,
when did I become the brawny man?
And then I said, is Zelda Rubinstein in yours? And he put a GIF that said, this house is clean.
How did you do that?
I put a GIF on there.
So that's a no. It's a yes from me, dog. DAWG. And then I said, crap. You've chosen Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
From 2006.
And he said yes. So that is, but he was very gracious and said, you can take that as your number 2.
It's yours if you want it.
See? It's exactly how he sounds.
Ha ha ha, ba ba ba, ha.
It was ha ha ha, ba. Can't put a B at the end. Can't put a B at the end of his laugh, and it made me crack me up. Ba ha ba ba.
Inside jokes on Baconsale.
Dude, okay, here's the plot. The next great psycho horror slasher has given a documentary clue exclusive access to his life as he plans his reign of terror over the sleepy town of Glen Echo. And it stars Les Incompetents from Home Alone. Remember the girl that said, Kevin, you're what the French call Les Incompetents.
She's the head of the documentary?
She's the head of the documentary.
I hate her from Home Alone.
And you should, well, you don't really hate her in this, but it's kind of funny because it's this mockumentary where they're interviewing this guy who's a serial killer or who wants to be the next great Freddy and Jason. Like, this is a world in which those movies exist, and they're trying to find the next good new serial killer, and this guy wants to be it, and they're interviewing him like it's no big deal.
Like, for example, he'll be at a high school, and he'll be like, look at that group of friends over there. That's the kind of friends that I would like to stalk and eventually kill. And he's like, look at those slackers over there. They'll help my body count, but, you know, they're not going to really play a big part.
Yeah.
And they're talking to him as if like, oh, you're normal.
Yeah. Well, and then there's another scene where it's like, he says, you know how in horror movies the people are running full speed and the killer's always going a steady pace, and you never know how they catch up? And it shows this scene. It's a great bit of physical comedy.
Yeah.
Where the girl is running, and he's running too, and then every time she looks back, he like stops and acts like he's just walking normal.
Arr.
Yeah, and then she turns around and he starts running full speed again.
And then, of course, she trips because she keeps looking back, and he catches right up to her.
That's funny.
And that's how it works.
Here's the thing. It may sound kind of disturbing, like maybe the play on like treating this slasher as real.
Right.
But it plays on every reference that we've known from like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. We even have like Robert Englund in this, Zelda Rubinstein. Like,
what was this one called again?
Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. And
that's easy to forget.
It's a terrible title, but it's a very, very fun take on it because it is a mockumentary. Like, you're getting this documentary style filming, and it's all kind of tongue in cheek because it's like, wow, this is kind of ridiculous. But then at the end, you get kind of a straightforward slasher movie, and it becomes something different. And all of a sudden, you're watching a straight up horror movie. So I like the mix of genres there, where you're laughing during the first half, and then, well, first 2/3, and then in the last third, that's when you get the real horror movie.
It's interesting because there aren't a ton of kills on screen, actually, for a movie like this.
No.
There are very few, if anything, they're off screen. And it's more about creating the mood rather than being, up until the end, a straight up slasher movie.
Yes. This is our Brief Unity, Language and Violence. You can clear play it pretty easy, and it's available on Netflix DVD and then on Shudder on Amazon channels. Apparently Amazon offers a channel called Shudder that you can subscribe to.
Okay. Scary movies?
What does that even mean?
I guess so. It's like a horror channel. Like, they have HBO on Amazon. I'm assuming this is just another subscription-based.
And this one made $69,000.
Not a lot.
Still better than 7.
What?
Slightly.
Oh, $7,000.
Yes.
I thought you meant 7 the movie.
Oh, no.
I was like, what? You're a crazy man.
Brad Pitt is not profitable. All right, my number 2 is called...
That would be profitable when you're beautiful.
My number 2 is called Splinter from 2008.
Oh.
I made a funny.
4 baby turtles.
You're not going to follow that one up with anything?
No. Just 4 baby turtles.
Have you guys heard of Splinter at all?
I've heard of Splinter.
I have heard of it too.
Never seen it.
Yep.
Why not? Can I ask why? Because usually if a scary movie has an original idea or at least looks kind of cool, wouldn't you kind of go for it?
Yes, except for Splinter looks like body horror to me, and it's not really my thing.
It is straight up body horror.
Okay.
This is extremely reminiscent, if not a near copy of The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
But here's the thing. You get it.
Here's the splinter.
Okay, so here's the synopsis, and then I'll go through the story.
Please read it in the Splinter voice.
Oh. That's right.
Do it.
I like how you had to say, oh.
That's how you get in character.
Trapped in an isolated gas station by a voracious splinter. Parasites that transforms its still living victims into deadly horse. Oh, young couple and escaped convict must find a way to work together
It's like a Japanese thing in there.
to survive this primal terror.
That's what Splinter is.
So this movie made $9,500 from 4
Can you
screens
explain
in
it
one
normally
weekend.
now? Because I had a hard time paying attention to what you were saying, just how you were saying it.
Oh, I'll just do that. I'll just breathe heavily.
That's not creepy.
This is a movie that stars 6 people, and it's a bottle episode, essentially. It takes place inside a gas station,
Okay.
and it's a couple that just got back from camping, and they get basically accosted by a carjacker and his girlfriend.
Okay.
And they end up in a gas station, and there's something pretty crazy outside. And it's basically a dead
like
guy.
The Mist.
It's like The Mist, but it's a dead guy that's been infected by this splinter virus, which is fungi, essentially. It's a parasitic
Why is it a
organism.
splinter? That seems
So
like it'd be
splinter
wood-based.
means they're like it's like a porcupine sort of thing.
Okay.
And basically,
But it's a mushroom?
well, it's kind of like a bacteria, essentially.
So you're saying Splinter is about mutation.
Yes.
In teenagers. Does anyone know any ninja moves?
There is a ninja move in the movie.
Okay. And are they as slow as turtles?
In fact, oh man, I could read some of the stuff of why it's rated R, but it's pretty gross.
Let's hear it.
Oh man.
Don't read the gross ones. Are there any funny ones?
A man's arm is sawed to the bone with a knife, then amputated with a cinder block. In parentheses, it says, very graphic and painful.
That would be.
Clearly,
That would
not
be.
shown in a fun light. Or like 2 people's hands are cut off and they wander around moving by themselves. So
The people do or the hands
the
do?
hands do.
Oh.
So here's the thing, like someone actually in this movie gets infected, their hand touches the spindles, the splinters, and then so they kind of like, being infected by a zombie, you hurry and cut off whatever was diseased, and then this thing becomes its own thing, and the character was actually fine because it hadn't traveled yet. But as this thing travels through your body, because it's a parasite, it breaks, and they show this in the movie, it breaks every bone in your body so it can move around quickly, much like the thing, and it starts crawling around and becomes a beast.
Jeez, that sounds horrifying.
It is horrifying. The body horror in this movie is awesome, and they did it on a very, very small budget, but somehow they made it cool. These are characters you care about. It's, like I said, it's a bottle episode, which we're very used to in, like, TV or a few movies.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's a gas station really works.
A bottle episode, in case you don't know, is just where people are trapped in one location for almost the entirety of the movie or TV episode. They call it a bottle episode because it's like they're trapped in a bottle, and usually it happens because of budgetary reasons.
Yeah. But this is a very small cast. It's very indie actors at best. But it's cool. And the way it plays out, I think the payoff is also great. And so I recommend this one from start to finish. It's intense.
Does Kent get another point this round?
I do.
Yep, he does.
Did you get a point that round?
I got a half point.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I've seen your movie.
Point. What do you have?
Troll Hunter.
You hadn't seen it, but Kent
Oh,
had.
that's right. Yeah, but we heard of it. I don't know. Well, the points are kind of all messed up now. All right, Jacob, take us home
All
with your
right.
4th pick and your number 1 pick. if
My
that makes
number
any
1
sense.
pick is from 2016 called Halloween. Joel forgets every time when I start. Do you notice that?
Every time, like,
I know. And here's the thing. This was his joke like all season 1 is having a fake choice.
No, I'm just kidding. It's Night of the Living Dead.
oh, I want what?
No, I made that up too. My final choice.
I want to know what Halloween was about.
It's not a very interesting synopsis actually. It's just this guy.
Bunch of stoners on Halloween.
Yeah, that's yeah. There's not much to that.
Dang.
Yeah, Night of the Living Dead isn't very interesting either. But my final choice is from 1962, and it is called Burn Witch Burn.
Don't say that too fast.
This is your real choice?
This is my real choice.
Burn, Witch, Burn.
Yep.
Is this like a campy one?
Burn.
This seems like almost like it's kind of a joke title
This
or like
is
a
your number-
Grindhouse type movie. Is
This
it a
is your
Grindhouse movie?
number 1. Okay, and I haven't heard of it, Kent.
Neither.
So point for Jacob.
All right. So this movie actually starts with a pretty cool.
Retitled, it was Night of the Eagle, and then it
Yeah.
became Burn Witch Burn.
Yep, that's the one. It has this warning in the front. There's a voiceover, and the guy says there will be satanic rituals cited in this movie. I'm gonna say a spell right now that will protect you from it.
Oh, they used to do that a lot in the 70s, just to get you amped up.
So
remind yourself, it's only a movie.
That's totally on Amazon Prime too.
It's only a movie.
This is Prime as well, so this one's also accessible.
I just added that to my watch list, Jacob.
Nice. So I want to throw some audio in here, Kent.
Ladies and gentlemen, the motion picture you are about to see contains an evil spell, as used by practitioners of witchcraft for centuries. Even today, in many parts of the world, people practice black magic and witchcraft. Charms, amulets, voodoo candles, grave dirt, and locks of hair are believed to ward off evil spirits and spells. You may doubt the effectiveness of these spells, but through every civilization, people have believed in witches.
So this is how it starts, and it is all black screen. And he continues to go.
So it's just a whole monologue, just audio.
Just audio, black screen, and then he says some stuff in Latin in a minute, and then is like, I am protecting you now.
I have to say, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Setting the scene.
I mean, I want to watch this movie right now just based on that.
I just think it's funny. It's like, well, like with Blair Witch, they set the scene so well. It's like just putting up those posters and saying these kids are missing.
Yep.
So you go into it and you have kind of the mood of what you're going to be watching.
Yeah. So it sets it up really well. You get in, and this is a slow burn. And you see...
Slow burn, witch burn?
Slow burning witch. So the premise is there's a... Well, he's a...
Witch.
He's not a witch.
Doctor.
I'm trying to think of what he's... No, he is a doctor. He's a professor. I'm sure remember what he's a doctor of.
Bing bang.
But he gives lectures on basically overcoming the supernatural and the... I'm just going to keep going.
We know. We figured.
Yeah, and basically the psychoses that come into play for people that believe in the supernatural and overcoming it through, choice of belief and not getting sucked into nonsense so that you don't fall into a psychosis yourself because none of it's real. Right?
Okay.
But then you meet his wife and learn very quickly that she is a kind of practicing witch. She's sort of an amateur witch trying things out. And then the story unravels from there when he finds out.
Cool.
And
Jacob, I just removed this from my watch list.
This wasn't a Kent synopsis. Why would you do that? And it's super boring and hurts. And it's going to make you want to cry. But.
It's back on my watch list.
and it hurts. Yeah. I can only recommend.
If you've ever had rainbow kidney stones,
you will feel pain watching this and want to die.
One eye will bleed.
So that is my number one, Burn Witch Burn, 1962.
1 point for Jacob.
And
so that's 3. You got 3 points or 2.5?
2.5.
2.5. All right.
I really want to watch that movie now. Hold on. Boring?
So there's a couple moments in the middle. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be that good. And then it pulls it back around. You're like, oh no, this is good.
Okay.
So no, it is slow.
It's an hour 30.
But it's not boring. It's never boring. But there's a couple of moments, and there's twists, and this is all about dialogue. They don't have a lot going on as far as special effects, but what that does do is very effective.
Cool.
All right,
Joseph.
I'm not going to do well. I think I've only got 1 point, and I don't think I'm going to get another one for this one because I'm pretty sure Kent has seen this one, maybe even Jacob. 2001, directed by Bill Paxton, starring Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah,
this is Frailty.
Oh, I'm surprised you chose this one.
Oh, this one was good.
It's very good.
So, have you seen this one, Jacob?
I haven't even heard of this one.
So, Frailty, 2001, Matthew McConaughey, and I think I put in my review, this is Matthew McConaughey doing drama before Matthew McConaughey doing drama was cool.
Yeah, this is him in
This is early Matthew McConaughey.
Time.
And it's actually Bill Paxton's directorial debut, and he stars in it as well. It's got Powers Booth in it also. And
don't know who that is.
You don't know who Powers Booth is? Mm-mm. You probably recognize him.
You would.
Yeah, 24.
Character actor.
Yeah.
Really deep voice.
Yeah, gravelly.
Westerns.
He passed away recently, too. Yeah, him and Bill Paxton, same year.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Watch out, Matthew McConaughey.
Here's the synopsis. A man confesses to an FBI agent his family's story of how his religious fanatic father's visions led to a series of murders to destroy supposed demons. So this guy, Matthew McConaughey, goes into this police station and because they're looking for this, I can't remember his name, the killer, something killer. But he goes in there and kind of tells a story about how when they were kids, his dad had a vision and this vision gave him a special power where he could tell who was a demon and who was really human, because there were demons walking among us.
So imagine it's like They Live, but it's a demon version.
So what the dad does is he prays to get inspiration, and then he writes a list of names, and then they go out, find those people, abduct them
as a family.
Like, so it's a dad and 2 young kids.
Oh, this is a supernatural story.
Kind of. A little darker, because then they go get the demon, and who looks just like a human. He then tells them their sins.
Still supernatural.
And then kills them.
And they may or may not be a demon.
And that's the whole point, is the whole movie.
Wait, the demon, they tell the demon their sins?
Yes, because the demon's like, what are you doing? And then he'll like put his hand on them and be like, you have done this and this and this, and then they'll kill them. And the whole point is Matthew McConaughey's going in here to say, my dad was a lunatic, and he inspired my brother to be this killer. And so the whole movie, you wonder if the dad is really seeing demons, or if he's a psychopath. And it's disturbing.
So you're spoiling it for us.
It's definitely disturbing. Well, not really, because I didn't tell you one way or the other which way it is. Because that's the whole point. Is like he talks about it. And
you're supposed to be conflicted.
The whole movie, you're like, which one is it? It's R, because of child peril, obviously, and violence in some language. You can get it on YouTube or Amazon or iTunes or Netflix DVD. You can clear play it. It's on clear play. But this is one that James Cameron, Sam Raimi, and Stephen King all singled out Frailty for high praise, and King ranked it one of his best horror movies of the year.
Wow. He has terrible taste.
Roger
does.
Yeah. Well, Roger Ebert gave it 4 out of 4 stars too, and it made.
And that was after he was dead.
Jeez. Oh, man. Happy Halloween, everybody!
That's how much he cared about this movie.
This made $17 million worldwide, so this definitely wasn't one that made it big at the box office,
right?
But I was riveted the entire time trying to figure out what was going to happen, and I was floored by kind of how it all wraps up.
Is this one of those that if you had it on Clear Play, would you show a group of people this movie because it's so interesting? Like it plays out so intricately?
I know the religious themes would bother some people. I know. So it'd have to be a certain group of people.
But it's religious, but not religious at the same time.
Exactly. It's like that. Is it religious? And I was worried for a while there, and I wanted to put people's minds at ease. I was worried for a while there it would be mocking religion. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. It's kind of just this kind of weird look at someone who thinks they're inspired that may or may not be. And which side are they inspired by, and things like that.
Right.
But I would show this to a group of people, a select group of people, because I feel like this is one of those horror movies people didn't see, but they really should have. This should have gotten a lot more attention, and that's why it's my number 1 pick for my hipster horror flick pick.
That's a great choice.
But I didn't get the point.
Well,
so I think I'm losing.
That's okay.
This game.
No, I mean you've lost. That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you generally lose when it comes to these kind of movies. That's fine. But you know who's going to win? It's probably me.
Okay.
Because my number 1 pick is dumplings.
No, it's not.
It's not dumplings.
You brought that up in the last horror movie show.
I tried to promise Joel I'll never talk about dumplings. Don't look it up.
And yet he does.
Don't look it up, kids. Don't do that.
Does he hate that more than the other movie? That
Can I just tell the story real quick?
It's on the same vein. No, what? Why would you tell the story?
Not about the movie, but there was one time. I just need to tell everyone. It's actually a gross movie. No one should watch it. Okay. But I saw the movie about 4 years ago, and it's when Joel and I were first working together, maybe 5 years ago. And I go into his office and I said, because we were talking movies all the time, and we both love Halloween movies. I said, Joel, I watched this Korean movie called Dumplings, and I don't feel very good about what I've done. And he's like, well, what's it about? And I told him, and he said,
you treated me like a bishop for a while.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like a bishop's interview where I was like, am I wrong for having seen this? He's like, yeah, but let's never talk about it again, okay? And now years later, here we are.
Yeah. No, but okay. So Kent proceeds, he says, well, let me tell you what the movie's about. He proceeds to tell me it. And as he's telling me it,
everyone's looking up the synopsis now because of this story.
I know, that's kind of the point.
And it's terrible. Like, it really is one of those movies that a twisted mind made.
Yes.
And when he got to the ending, I remember just kind of staring at him like, why would you put that in my head? Why?
But Joel, can we lighten up the mood and talk about Prisoners real quick? Can we do that?
No. Prisoners was one where I said to Kent, just tell me the ending. I just need to do the ending. Yeah. I don't want to watch this one. Hit too close to home.
Yeah.
But no, your number 1 pick is not dumplings. Your number 1 pick is what?
My number 1 pick is similar to dumplings because it's Korean.
Don't say I Saw the Devil either.
I Saw the Devil.
It's not.
It is.
I've already heard of that one. And you don't get the point.
Oh, have you seen it?
No, because you told me the entire story.
Oh, are you changing the rules now? Because I'm pretty sure...
You get a half point then.
I'm pretty sure everyone got a point if you hadn't seen the movie.
I can't believe you're recommending this movie because you said this is one of the most evil movies I've ever seen.
Not evil, disturbing.
You said evil.
Disturbing.
The trailer looked cool. I watched this trailer the other day, too.
Man. I looked up the parents' guide for this one. I can't even talk about the scenes because this is a brutal movie. It
looked relentlessly brutal.
It is. It's a Korean serial killer movie.
Yes.
And I
can't believe you're recommending this one to people to watch.
Here's the thing.
Why would you do that to people?
Only if you can handle a movie like this because it's
only if you have no soul.
It's so expertly crafted and tight as a movie. It's 2 hours, 21 minutes, but man, is it intense
tight?
all the way through.
2:21?
It really is. I mean, so let me just explain, okay? This centers...
Do you really want to explain this?
It's better than dumplings, right? So it centers around an aging serial killer who butchers stranded girls, right? It's an old man.
Hey, kids, this is the part where Daddy's going to have you turn down the radio.
Oh, now they're turning down the radio? I think Jake's number 5 recommendation is...
Yeah, we're probably not going to listen to this episode with the kids in the van.
So here's the thing, though. This woman is murdered early in the movie, and then her fiance, who's like basically a super cop, he goes looking for her, and he realizes that, man, this serial killer who used to be around has come back, and he's killed her. And so he goes looking. And so he is on the hunt. He finds this guy. And instead of going out and just killing this guy like he easily could, he follows him. And so basically he'll wait till this old man has a new victim and is about to kill this person, and he'll basically be waiting in the wings to, I don't know, cut this guy's Achilles tendon or just... Yeah, I'm sorry.
You could just say torture.
He tortures him little by little and lets this serial killer know that he is following him. But the problem is, you can only do that for so long before the mouse becomes the cat. And so this movie is so frustrating because you're like, kill this guy.
So this movie's Animorphs?
It's Animorphs. The Canadian series Animorphs. This is it's kind of a Dirty Harry movie, but with a serial killer vibe.
So can we watch it after we're done recording?
Oh man, this is such a dark movie.
Joel's in. I can tell from his face.
So this movie actually made 129,000.
Hold on, let me see if it's on ClearPlay. My computer just started on fire.
But it did make 12 million worldwide because it was a big hit in China, in Japan, and also Korea, where it was made. This is... I could have recommended a ton of Korean horror films. I'm going to save them for another time. But this one is one that has stayed with me for now 7 years. So it came out in 2010. But the thing is, if you want a movie that's going to shock you, and a lot of my movies have been like this is a great one. It's a brutal but great movie.
I'm disgusted by Kent. How about you?
I'm sorry?
We built up to that. That was the last one we're talking about.
Hold on. I'll play that song
Joel
again.
and I are all family-friendly titles.
No, you don't have family-friendly titles, Jacob.
Those are fake ones.
The very first one out of the gate was not a family-friendly title.
That was a fake title, though.
It was a real title.
Oh, that's true. It was a fake choice. Yeah. It was a very real title.
So here's the thing. I try to start with the horror comedy. Yeah, then leading up a little bit of body horror. I try to go every genre, but this one for slasher or serial killer movie, man, this one is brutal.
I was really hoping it was brutal. Poultrygeist for the end, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you should see that one.
And let us know. Let us know if you've seen any of these, and if we got points from the listener as well for them not knowing about it.
Right.
And also give us your hipster horror flick picks, because we love to hear about new horror movies.
Please
make sure they're good ones, because like we said, there's a lot of bad ones out there. So don't send them to us being like, oh, you're going to hate this one. No, we've seen plenty of bad. Send us good ones. And we may even watch them.
I probably will. This whole month is I'm going to watch all of them.
I've been doing that too.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nothing but horror movies this month.
Yes.
Maybe we should pick one.
Halloween is not a day; it's a season.
Then we could do a bacon bit on that one after we watch it.
Yeah, that could work. So yeah, actually,
fun.
When we post the show on our Facebook page and Twitter, recommend a movie to us, and we'll come together and watch it before we record next time.
Maybe.
That seems very committal.
It depends what you come up with, and if Joel's comfortable with it, because he's talking about himself in third person, which means he's not comfortable. I'm separating myself from the situation.
Getting weird.
Yes, but if you want to find Joel, you can find him at 786Joel on Twitter, or you can find him at Quickwits. He performs every Saturday night at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
If you want to find my soul, good luck after I've seen these movies. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kenny3DD and read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
Also, listener, if you end up watching any of these titles, make sure you let us know. Give us your review. What did you think? Did we do okay? And if you've seen them already, then tell us we were wrong or not. But mostly look for the ones you haven't seen, because you've got a pretty good sense of where they're at content-wise and rating-wise, and there's a huge variety. So you'll have your pick when you're trying to entertain and watch something new. So, and you can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers. Go find Baconsale on Twitter as well. It is worth joining Twitter just to interact with us.
Free movie tickets as well.
Yeah.
And we're giving away movie tickets kind of frequently now. So, yeah.
So until next time, this has been Baconsale.
Isn't Peter Cushing's ghost in Rogue One?
People are killed, and there is some kissing, some more than just a peck.
Hashtag life goals. All right?
More than just a peck. Well, the Triffids are going to come get you.
He's screaming like this!
You should watch this. You're going to love it. You're going to have a headache and feel gross. Take note, Stephanie Meyer. This is what a relationship between a child and a vampire would be like.
This movie made $7,000.
This is one of the most evil movies I've ever seen. You can watch this with kids.
It's better than dumplings, right?
Hold on, let me see if it's on clear play. Ah, my computer just started on fire. I'm disgusted by Ken. How about you? And if Joel's comfortable with it. Because he's talking about himself in third person, which means he's not comfortable.
Because they cut out a lot of the weird European stuff.
Oh, there's some weird European stuff.
Almost so riveting that you get a stress headache because you're like, I feel gross. Everything's going wrong.
Ken knows how to pitch a movie.
Oh, I made a funny 4 baby turtles.
I'll just breathe heavily.
That's not creepy.
It is super boring and hurts. It's going to make you want to cry.
Yeah. I can only recommend
if you've
movies
ever
that
had rainbow kidney stones,
you will feel pain watching this and want to die.
One eye will bleed. Don't look it up, kids. Don't do that.
It's yours if you want it.
See? It's exactly how he sounds.
Ha ha ha, ba ba ba, ha.
It's when the zoo animals become zombies.
It's clever, but not a comedy. Jacob, I just removed this from my watch list. Is yours a slasher or a paranormal movie?
Very graphic and painful.
Where does it fit in your rating?
Not portrayed in a good light.
Ha, mine too.
There's no naked people in this.
It's a yes from me, dog.
Blood coffee?
Hipster vampire? You treated me like a bishop for a while. Why would you put that in my head?
I don't feel very good about what I've done.